Okay, we're up to Daf Yud Aleph. We're up to Daf Yud Aleph from an Aleph, and we just got into a discussion whether the Shar of the Lishkas Fahedrin in the Beis Hamikdash, where there was a Chi of Mezuzah or not. According to the Chachamim, a Dira Bal Karchel Maskana was Shmei Dira, and it was. According to Rabbi Yehuda, not. But Rabbi Yehuda agreed that they put it up because they shouldn't say that that the Kohen Gadol is being kept prisoner. So therefore, they went ahead and they put it up. So we're up to Yud Aleph and Aleph. We can say Tan Rabbanon, Kol HaShorim Shahayu Sham. All the gates they were, again, the gates that were in the Beis Hamikdash. Lahayilim Mezuzah Chutz Mishar. Now we have Machlokes over here. We have Shar Nikna Shalifnim Imen Lishkas Bahedrin. According to the Gra, it's Shar Mayim. It's the Shar Mayim. Again, this Machlokes is exactly where it seems where the Lishkas Bahedrin was. So this was Shar Mayim, and that's why did they have Lei Meleta Say Rabbanon He V'Lei Rabbi Yehuda. Right, because let's say it's Rabban and Rabbi Yehuda, right? Why? Because Rabbi Yehuda he gufa gezerah. The reason why it's up, the shar is by Lishkas Fahedrin is gezerah. Why not nakim gezerah? Nigza gezerah second gezerah. So he said afilu tema Rabbi Yehuda kulacha the gezerah. It's all one chazerah. So now the Gemara goes into the Hilchos Mezuzah, basically which places are mechayiv mezuzah, not mechayiv mezuzah. It's a very interesting digression. You know, so again, it's a Shin Nun in Shulchan Aruch, Yaredeya, discussing locales for mezuzah. Tanrabanan. Again, what do we say? Chasatim al mezuzah beisecha uvish arecha. Vish arecha is what is your literally lashon plural your gates. Echad shari batim, whether they're gates of houses. The echad shari chatzeros. Remember in ancient times there was a chatzah that was before the house of Erevin, the Erevin picture. So the shar that led into the chatzar, the echad shari medinois, or whether it was sharim of medinois. Let's see Rashi here. Echad shari medinois. Yesh medina mukefes harim. There's a medina that is surrounded by mountains. Via arim and forests. Become a prasois for many pasarangs. It's a distance. Then yotzim menu eladerech sharim, and you'd only be able to get through the sharim because they were natural. In other words, there was a natural wall around this place. And there were walls there. Those are called Shar Medinois. And Rashi says, Kegoin Eretz Hagar. Now, it's too bad Aaron Leibowitz isn't here, because that's his landslide. That's Hungary. That's Hungary. Hungary is surrounded by the Carpathian Mountains, right? And this is Rashi saying Eretz Hagar is Hungary. Hungary. How do they say it? I don't know. But you probably you are of your ilk. Okay, so how do they say it? Yeah, well, again, that's why you're in medical school. Anyway, so it seems to be. I found it fascinating. They say it's hungry and it's surrounded by the Carpathian Mountains, so it would explain why different sharim over there.
There was sharim that has gates.
Yeah. You couldn't get in. You know, the mountains. It's they had cut they had cutouts so we can get through. And there's another pshat over here that these are cities that were cities that were surrounded by walls. These were cities that mukafes chayma, and therefore the next one it says shari aroyos are cities that are not surrounded by walls. Yesh behen chayvis mitzvah l'makom. There's a chayvis mitzvah l'makom to go ahead and put on a mezuzah. Mishum shenemar uchasavtem al mezuzah beisecha. Uvish arecha, your gates. And so therefore it doesn't mean a multitude of gates, it means different types of gates and different types of locales. So that would be explained that there's a chiyuv over there to put up mezuzahs. Amalei Abaylu of Safra. Hani avule de mechuza. Rashi says, She'ari ir sheshma mechuza. These were the gates of the city called mechuza. This was the case of Rava. Rava is the Rava mechuza. And just let's keep in mind, Rashi says, Ruban Yisrael, and the majority of the people were Yisrael. The majority of the people, if we have time, we may see some lumdus on this, okay? So the majority of people were Yisraelim. So Hani Avuli in the Mechuzah, these gates of Mechuzah, my timer, like Avdul Rabbanim Mezuzah. What's the reason the Rabbanim did not put a Mezuzah on? You're telling me the Sharm of the cities, and it's Rei Yisrael, so why don't you go ahead and put a mezuzah on this place? So Amalei, so Rav Safra told Abaya, Hanu chozik la'akra de kubihu Davidi. These sha'arim were not made as entrances. they were made to support the tower of Kubi. There was a tower of Kubi that was like a watchtower, and it was made on top of these arches. But since they weren't made for the purpose of what of coming and going, so they didn't have a shah. They didn't have support beams. They were support beams, and therefore there was not unnecessary to put a mezuzah on it. That's what Rav Safra answered Abaya. So Amalei. So Abaya said to Rav Safra, "The akra the Kubi gufati by mezuzah. The tower of Kubi itself should need a mezuzah. Why? The isbei dira the shaimer, base surim. It seems to have been a prison, and there was a base dira there, and if it has a base dira, it has a bit of a bias. So forget about the shire itself. The tower, the base, the Kubi itself should need it. Als base dira.
It's like the Eiffel Tower type of thing, right?
I wouldn't think so.
No?
What?
It's like a shower on all sides.
Yeah. It says the Gemara. I pictured it more like an aqueduct, like you have a bridge, and you have and then on top you have like a tower, some type of tower that people would live in. Again, the Eiffel Tower does the job, it's just people who can't live in there. There seems to have been a basic surim there, something there, like a prison. Anyway, so he's asking why didn't you put in it itself? The Tanya, Beis HaKnesses, sheyesh ba beis dira, Beis HaKnesses that has a dir in it, l'chazan HaKnesses for the chazan, chayev is b'mezuzah, it's chayev b'mezuzah. So l'chayra, if you have a beis dira over here, she's chayev b'mezuzah. So therefore, we're stuck. Why, in fact, did they not have what a mezuzah by the beis kubi? So Elam Rabaya Mishum Sakana. It had nothing to do with being support, nothing to do with Beistira. It's the reason they didn't do it was because of a sakana. Now, what was the sakana? Let's see Rashi. It says Rashi, what was the sakana over here? Shelo Yomer HaMelech Kshofim Asiyasam B'Shari Iri. You're making magic with the sha'arim of my city. So despite the fact that it's being Raiv Jews, it still seems to be it seems to be under the jurisdiction of some type of king, and therefore you would be scared to go ahead and put up a mezuzah because they might think you're casting a spell or something. They might think of kshaf, and that's the reason you don't do that. That's the sakana. That's the reason you don't put it up there. A fascinating reason. Tanya mezuzas yachid nivdekes. The mezuzah, the Tanya mezuzahs yachid nivdekes pamayim b'shvua. The mezuzah of an individual is checked twice every 7 years. Twice every 7 years. Shal rabim pamayim b'yovel, and a rabim you would check twice in a yovel period, right? You would check twice in the yovel period. So kind of very funny, guys, right? Once every 7 years and twice every 7 years. And if it's of a large city, twice every what? 50? The ratio doesn't work out, right? What's the big discrepancy, right? And he took from Elab. Because in other words, why do they check? Why do they check it of a rabbin? Why do they check so infrequently, guys? Because of sakana. The Tanya, we're bringing a raya to a bias teretz since it belonged to the rabbin. And therefore what? Therefore, they check very, very seldom in order not to go ahead and draw attention to the fact you have a mezuzah there. Now, this is kind of schwer. Why would you check for mezuzah pashtus? Because you think it's going to go bad. So twice in every 7 years is enough. So therefore, you mean 7 times that, 49, twice is enough? If you're worried about a psul, you should check much more often, right?
I know, because the psul and the rabbin is not going to, they don't need that. The rabbin doesn't need that mezuzah.
A mezuzah is a mezuzah. Whether, again, if hilchos mezuzah, you can't just say that it doesn't need the shmira, right? So what? You're putting up mezuzah as a show. It's a mezuzah you buy Macy's. What do you? If there's a din of mezuzah, there's din of mezuzah. It has to have din of mezuzah. So this shots like this, guys. This is you have to understand. When this mezuzah was written, was it kosher? Yeah. you put it up. Is it the cheskas of kashrus?
Yeah.
It has that chazaka. It has that chazaka. So that it's not pshat you choshid that it goes bad. That's a chazaka. But you check l'chalapachas. Where you have a reason not to check because it's the rabbim will be mukel chaskasa. You put on the chazaka and it's good. And twice every 25 years. So again, the shaila is 25 years, right? It says twice in 50 years, you go 25. So that answers the question. When it says twice in 7 years, can you check year 1 and 2 and forget the other 5? Or do you have to check one every 3.5 years? So based upon the rabbin, if it's every 25 years, you'd have to check what? 3.5. 3.5. The same. Most you check your mezuzahs twice a year, guys? Twice in 7 years?
Yeah. I saw it wrote down to me.
He calls up?
Come down, they take you off, they check you, and they bring it back.
We moved the yeshiva. The yeshiva moved to Brighton Beach from Netzach. We were in Crown Heights, and we moved to Brighton Beach. They thought it might be successful, whatever. So the yeshiva said, we have to check the mezuzahs. So I take that mezuzah. It was missing the word S. It was missing the whole word. So I showed it to yeshiva. He reads and he goes, Hazashen Iksav. He has such a great sense of humor. Great sense of humor. It is.
So wrote down that you really don't have to check it, take it off and see if it's not smudged. Because it has the chazak already that was corrected. There's nothing changed. The words didn't change. No damage happened to it.
You still gotta dig in and look at it, so.
Okay, Chalapachas. Now, Fred the Gemara, why do you have to go ahead and be chayish for sakana of the to put up a mezuzah? V'om Rabbi Laza, shluchei mitzvah ein nizukin. Shluchei mitzvah will not get damaged. Shluchei mitzvah, right? Shluchei mitzvah, you have a rule. Shluchei mitzvah ein nizukin, right? It says Gemara, heked the kviya hezek shiny, where it's kabeya hezek, where you chosh that what there will be damage. Then that's different. Tichsiv, vayom Shmuel, eich elech v'sham hashol behargeni. Vayom Hashem eglas baka tikach biyadcha. V'amartu l'zvoich l'Hashem ba'asi. What a fascinating incident. I always speak it out all the time. I'm always amazed. Shaul, Kodesh Baruch Hu comes to Shmuel and says, "I've rejected Shaul. Go to Ben Yishai, find this. On him a son of a son, and you'll anoint him." Says Shmuel to God, to the Rebbeinu Shalom, "What happens if Shaul finds me and kill me?" And Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't say, "What are you worried about? I'm God." He doesn't say that. He says, "Take along an eggless baka, and if he sees you, you'll tell him you're going to bring, I think, an egla rufa. You're going to bring a carbon." So you see, b'makam vaday danger like Shaul, because again he's being married b'malchus. You're anointing a king in a lifetime of a king. That what? And you don't say shluchei mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to anoint the king. Ain't an izukin. Why? Because his father has it. That's the raya. But the limit from over there in the shtadlus that a person's got to do what they have to do. From there, it's an amazing thing. He doesn't tell him, "What are you worrying about? I'm God." He says, "Give him a shtadl. Go ahead, do something." Okay. Anyway, look all about. So so that's the reason. Sakana. That's the reason you don't put up in this place of the big kubi. Tani Reb Chana kameid Reb Yehuda. Reb Chana said in front of Reb Yehuda, Beis HaTeven, Ubeis HaBakar, Ubeis HaEitzim, a house where they would store straw, or Beis HaBakar would be a barn. Ubeis HaEitzim, they would store eitzim straw. Ubeis HaEitzreis, they would store tfua or wine or oil. Piturim min HaMezuzah, says of Kahana, they're part of a mezuzah. Now, why? Because noshim use it. What do they do there? They go ahead, why don't they wash themselves there? Says Rashi. Says Rashi, right? What do they do there? Neusais is loshin hana. They have a na there. They stand there without clothing. So in fact, there should be. You should have to go ahead, what, and put up a mezuzah there. But I can't put up a mezuzah there because it could be used for a place where people will be in a state of what? In fact, so this brought down halacha. So why do you have to put on your bedroom? The bedroom is a place where people will change, right?
It's supposed to look.
No, it's on
the outside also.
that's So it's the Ramah. You put it on the outside. That's why you put it on the outside. When you close the door, it's on the outside. I'm saying so. It's okay. So this is Rav Kana Shita. So l'chayra, he's saying it should be chayiv, but since there's a siba not to its spot. Yes, Mendy, you had a question.
It's not a base of deal.
What?
The warehouse, it's not a base of deal. It's making.
Base idea is again. So you see that it's not again that people use it. It's not. It's not. Again, it's considered beisecha. It's considered beisecha. These are base considered beisecha. Again, there's another opinion. We'll see another opinion, but we'll see another opinion in a second. Says the Gemara, Amalei Rav Yehuda, time of the rechetzas, hastama chayavim. Right. The reason you're telling me. I made the infants for you guys, right? I made the infants. The reason why it's not Mechayiv Mezuzah is because you have a siba, you have a cause, because a person will be there in a state of undress. Mashma, if there's no person there in a state of undress, it'll be Mechayiv, right? I have a Tanya, the following, Refet Bakar, a Refet that's a corral of Bakar, Petur min HaMezuzah. A Refet Bakar, what is Pata from Mezuzah. So Suadin, a base, the other things also should be Pata from Mezuzah. Says Rabbi Yehuda, I don't understand why what? Why? So now, Elamayna Usais, what does the Usais mean? Is miskashtois, and meaning they adorn themselves there. Now, if that's the case, the Gemara is giving it the opposite. Really, it should be pata. Since some women use it to be miskashtois, you might think it's chayiv, kamashman still pata. To the opposite way. In other words, how do you view the stam? Rav Kana views stam as chayiv. But since women do this, it's pata. Rabbi Yehuda says the opposite. Really, it should be pata. And you'd have a havamin, it's chayiv. Why? Because women use it not to go ahead and change, but to go ahead and be miskashtas, to adorn themselves there. So there's a shtamshus, Mendy. There's a shtamshus of a dira there. So you might think you're chayiv, kamash when you're not. Even though women are miskashet there, they adorn themselves there, you might think you're chayiv. Nonetheless, you potter. So, guys, listen to the way we're learning pshat in this machlokes. What are you starting from? Are you starting from a piece of chiyuv or starting from a piece of patur? And how are you teaching mishum noshim neusais? They have a nod there, right? So now, says Rav Kahana, I'm starting from a makam of chiyuv. I'm starting from a chiyuv. But since women go ahead and wash there, it's potter. Says Rabbi Yehuda, no, it's potter. And it's still pata. You'll never be chayiv. My woman neusais miskashtais. You might think since women are miskashtais there, and therefore it should have a shtamshus of a dira, and you should be chayiv. Kamashmon, you're still pata. So therefore, it's a machlokes Rav Kahana and Rav Yehuda. Men, do we pass like Rav Kahana chayiv? You should be aware. We pass like Rav. I'm saying, yeah, you are. You say we pass like chayiv. So now this is, and now the Gemara just fears ice. Amalei Rav Kahana, who should nashim miskashas him peturim. If the nashis are miskashas him the pata, but Tanya, refit bakar peturim in amezuzah. Ushehanashim miskashas behem chayav b'mezuzah. It says that the place the woman miskashas is chayav b'mezuzah. Elamayisachol meima. Why do you have to tell me, Rav Yehuda? Miskashta is tanohi. If a woman is miskashet, it's machlokes tanoyim. L'didinami stoma tanoihi. Me as well. It's stam is machlokes tanoim. Okay, let's go over it, guys. You have to get the setup, guys. Look at me. You just have to get the setup. Rabbi Yehuda, Rav Kahana's din stam. Forget anything else. Now these places mechuyev in mezuzah, and the answer is yes. Yeah. Refet baka chayiv. What's the reason to pater? Women, neusais, they go ahead and wash their rechetzais. That's the reason to pater. Good. But stam is chayiv. Rabbi Yehuda says stam is pater. Stam is pater. And even though women adorn themselves, it's still pater. Good. Now, yes, Rav Kahana to Yehuda, it says miskashtais, women adorn themselves chayiv. So what do you have to say, Rabbi Yehuda? Amar Rabbi Yehuda. It's a machlokes tanoim. Your miskashtais is a machlokes tanoim. Yeah. According to your opinion, it's what it's potter. According to the price I just brought you, is chayiv. So you have two opinions. My stam without woman miskashtais is also machlokes tanoim. Whether stam you chayiv or not. So I've answered myself up. So that's the lashon. Tanya says, what do you have to say? Second word gets wide. Whether they adorn themselves as Tanoihi, Lididi Nami, where you argue upon me, Stama Tanoihi, the Tanya, Beisecha, Beischa Miyuchid Lecha. It's a bias that's miyuchid for you. In other words, no one else. Prat, Lebeis HaTeven, Ulebeis HaBakar, Ulebeis HaEtzim, Ulebeis HaEitzois, Shepatur Men Zuzah. Yipata. Why? It's not miyuchid for a person. V'yesh mechayvin, and there are those who mechayiv it. And the emes amru, Beis HaKisei, Ubeis HaBurski. Burski was a tannery, very smelly job. Ubeis HaMerchatz, Ubeis HaTfila, Ushanoshim Neusais Behem, the Turmin Mezuzah. Okay, so they say that they are pata from Mezuzah. So how will Rav Kahana learn Pshat in this brisa, and how will Rav Yehuda learn Pshat in this brisa? Okay, how would each one learn Pshat in this brisa? Rav Kahana's Mataris Tamei, Rav Yehuda Mataris Tamei. Rav Yehuda Mataris, Rav Kahana Mataris Tamei. Beischa, Beis Miyuchad Lecha, Prat LeBeis HaTeven, LeBeis HaBakul, LeBeis HaEtzim, LeBeis HaEitzrois, Shepetur Min HaMezuzah, Bistam. That's Bistam, right? V'yesh shemeschayim Bistam. And those are Mechayim Bistam. In other words, we're fitting in his, like a puzzle, we're fitting in his shita, right? And the Emes Amru, Beis HaKisei, Beis HaBurskei, Beis HaMerchatz, Beis HaTfilah, Shenosh Muslimen, Umayna Usais, Reichet, Sais Peturin, Min HaMezuzah. Ihachi Hainu Merchatz, if he's speaking that women wash, that's the same thing as the Merchatz. Says, Ashmin Merchatz the Rabbi, Ashmin the Merchatz the Yachid. I'll tell me the Merchatz that's used by a lot of people versus an individual. Saka, I mean, Merchatz the Rabbim, the Nefesh Suhame, the Nefesh of a Rabbim, which has a lot of moisture and sweat and smelly, that's pata from Mezuzah. Aval Merchatz the Yachid, an individual where women wash, like Nefesh Suhame, where it's not so moisture, Eimel Chayv and Mezuzah, Kamashma not. So that's the way Reb Chana would have learned over here. That stam is not like this. Now, how does Rabbi Yehuda? We'll stick Rabbi Yehuda into this brisa. Rabbi Yehuda mitaris the Tanei, and Yehuda again, who says that you're always potter, he'll answer according to his reasoning, right? You're always potter. Hachik Tani, Beisecha Miyuchelecha, Prat LeBeis HaTeven, Beis HaBekar, Beis HaEtzim, Beis HaBitzois, Shepetur Min HaMezuzah, Afilu Miskashtois. Even Miskashta the Pata, and the Yesh Mechayim Miskashta. Right, there was another opinion by Miskashta Shechayim. Aval Stam, Devia Kol Pata. Stam, Devia Kol Pata. And the Emes Amru, Beis HaKisei, Beis HaBurskei, Beis HaMerchatz, Beis HaTfilah, Afal Bishanus Miskashtas Behem, Petur Min HaMezuzah, Mishum de Nafis Uhama. Okay. Ulu Rev Yehuda, Stam Devia Kol Pata. Fred Gemara. You're telling me like Rev Yehuda, everyone holds your potter, guys. Rav Kahana holds the machlokes as stam. You guys remember, machlokes holds stam. That's the machlokes. Rav Yehuda says stam is potter. Remember, he says miskash that you have a minute schayv. Kamash one, you're still potter. You're always potter. Fred Gemara stam these base bakar and all these places. Stam is potter. Devia kopota batanya b'shorecha echad shari batim ve'echad shari echatzeros. The Echad Shari Medinois, that we began with today. The Echad Shari Yarois. The Refet. Refet is where you keep animals. The Lulin is where you keep chickens. And with Umatbein, that's where you keep straw. There's your upslug there, guys, right? That's Stam Yechayev right there. We're going to continue on the brisa. I'm just putting you right now. Here's the kasha from these words. It says that why Yechayev. Rabbi Yehuda says Stam, guys. Rabbi Yehuda Stam Yepotim in these places. That's the kasha. We're going to fear Royce, but there's the kasha right there. Yochel shani marbe, continue. Yochel amid base. Yochel am I think marbe. Afilu beishar. Ach sadra umer peset. I might think you even include a beishar. They used to have a little going into the chutzah that have a little doorway over there. Umer peset. That's we saw of the attic. Tamaloi ma bias. Ma bias miyuchel ledira. Yatsu elishem miyuchel ledira. Yochel shni marba af beis hakisei beis haburtzei beis hamerchatz beis hatfilah tamaloyma bias. Ma bias asu lekovid af kol asu lekovid. Yatzu el shein asu lekovid. Yochel shni marba af hara bias val shakos val zaros tamaloyma bias. Ma bias shu choyel af kol shu choyel. Yatzu el shein kodesh. So tiyufta lechayritz tiyufta awad on Rabbi Yehuda because you saw a stam, a beis teven, matbein, all those places. What is chayev b'mezuzah, and that's the halacha. And that's the halacha. That is chayiv. This Okay, let's go back. I'm trying to organize things in my head. Tana Rav Shmuel by Yehuda Kamei the Rav. Okay, let's just again just a summary because we paskin like Rabbi Rav Kahana that stam these places, right? You put a mezuzah on these places. These places. You have a barn, there's silo, you put a mezuzah on these places. Tani Rav Shmuel by Yehuda Kamei the Rava. Shisha sha'arim peturim in mezuzah. 6 sha'arim patim in mezuzah. I guess the best thing would be the garage. That would probably be the best thing, garage. No one lives in a garage. Yeah, well, you put a mezuzah on a garage, right? That would be, in other words, you store stuff there. So halachically, you're thinking to yourself, I don't have a barn, I don't have a matbane. You do have a garage, right? And you put stuff in the garage. Why do you put a mezuzah on a garage? No, I'm asking you because you were into the base theory thing, right? But you see that it doesn't. You see, you have to expand your concept based theory. It's not only a place where a base knesses is not a place where people sleep. Well, actually, I would tend to disagree. What? A store.
Store needs mezuzah.
Yeah.
No one lives there.
Yeah, no one lives there, but people use there, right? The store, but again, but you think like a garage, it's mamish just for storage, right? No, is anyone here parked their car in their garage? It's a funny thing, like Goyim, I still remember when I bought my house. He was so busy. He's doing everything, but I'm not fixing the garage. There was a double garage, and the thing was broken. He's not fixing that. He's busy with his cars in the garage. But I owned the house for 19 years. Not once did I put in a double garage that I put a car in. There was no room.
It was being used.
No, actually, there was other reasons it was being used. Okay, anyway, actually, it was a base theory. Anyway, so Zevi's house. You used to call it Zevi's house. Yeah. Anyway, so Tan Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda Kamei Rav Sheshes. Shisha sh'arim peturim min mezuzah. There are 6 sh'arim that are patur from the mezuzah. Beis HaTevin, Beis HaBakar, Beis HaEitzim, Beis HaEitzros. Let's count. Let's count, guys. Beis HaTevin 1, Beis HaBakar 2, Beis HaEitzim 3, Beis HaEitzros 4. The Shari Hamadi is 5. Shari Shein Makura that doesn't have a roof is 6. Shari Shein Gavoya Yud is not Yud is 7. So Pascha B'Shisha B'Solka B'Shiva. You started off with 6 and you end up with 7. So Shari Madi Tanoihi. Shari Madi is a machlokas Tanoi. Now, what is Shari Madi? That's what we're about to find out what Shari Madi is. Okay, Tanoi, the Tanya, Kippah. Take a look on the side. We had this Gemara in Erevin, guys. Okay, let's outside, guys. Look at me. In order to be mechayev, you need an area of 10 tefachim high and 4 tefachim wide. 10 tefachim high, 4 tefachim wide. Right? If it goes up from the ground, right, it's got to at least be straight, not going at an angle up to 3 tefachim, because less than 3, we're going to say lovud, and we're going to view it as what? As down. So in other words, it's got to go up straight 3, and then it can begin to curve. But it has to be, before it hits that top, it has to be straight at 10. And then we're going to say choykik, according to Meir, choykik, we're going to hollow out lahashlam, and we're going to go ahead and take this kippah and take it and, virtually go ahead and hollow it out to make it an area that's away from mezuzah. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're discussing now. And that's a shar madi. It has a kippah, it has a dome. The Tanya, kippah, Remei Mechayev b'mezuzah, the Chachamim Paitrim, and the Chum says pata. The Shavim, they both agree. Shim yesh biragla asara. If in the feet there's asara, shechayav b'mezuzah. So if the feet go up 10, yechayev. Amar Abaya, the Kuli Alma Gavoya Yud. If it goes up 10, the Ein biragleha gimel, but it's not straight. You don't have gimel in the feet. The Ein Gavoya Yud, v'lav klum. It's not anything. I skipped. The Kuli Alma Gavoya Yud, the Ein biragleha gimel, v'lav klum. Why? If it's not 10 high, there's nothing to start with, guys. So watch. Let's look at my hands. You have the kippah. Let's say it's from here to my fingers, going from my nose to my fingers. There's only 8. There's nothing to talk about. It has to be 10. That area has to be 10. Good? And the feet, and even if the feet are nothing. Now, the other way around, if you have the feet is 3, and that works, it goes up straight, but you don't have a height of 10. Inami, yesh b'raglo gimel, you have 3 in the feet. Ve'ena gavoy yud, v'lav klumhu. Either way, so if you have good guys, if you have 10 but you don't have 3 in the feet, meaning it starts curving right away. That on the bottom it starts curving right away. Nothing to talk about. It doesn't curve away in the bottom, but it doesn't ascend to 10. Nothing to talk about. Lav klumi. Like nechel is the machlokes ela v'goyva yud. It's high 10. V'yesh b'ragla gimel, and you have in the feet 3, straight up 3. Ve'ein b'rach b'dalid, and you don't have in the width 4. However, v'yesh ba, you have enough area lachuk to hollow out lahashlima la'arba. So again, if you view it as, here, you view it like this. Let's say this thing over here. If this thing would be, this is 10 over here, it's over here, 3 over here, but it's not 4 wide. But if you would cut away over here, you would get 4 wide, then it's okay. Because you have the width at the bottom and you have the height at the top, and then you chayk lahashlim. That's what you do. Tanabanan, Beis HaKnesses, Ubeis HaIsha, Ubeis HaShutafim, Chayavis b'mezuzah. Whether it's a Beis HaKnesses, or a Beis HaIsha, or Beis HaShutafim, partners, Yechai b'mezuzah. Fred Mar Pshita, what's the Chiddush? So on the Tema, it says Beis Secha, below Beis Sa, not our house, in Lashon Male. Beis Secha, below Bateihem, right? Shutfin are Bateihem. Kamash Malon. The Ema Hachanami. It's a very good reason. Let's make the diak Beischa. V'loy Beisa, v'loy Beisem. Amakrolman Yirbu Yemechem V'mei. So this is Dr. Hilly's shot. It says you should be marbe your days and the days of your children. Hani boy chai, v'hani loy boy chai. Like you, only one singular person needs life, but they don't need life. In other words, the whole purpose of it, right? Ella base. So therefore, so you tell me base secha is lav dafka because it means even base sa and base chem, right? So what does it mean? So why do you say base secha? Lamali kidarava. We need it for Rava's din. The Amar Rava is of the opinion derech bi ascha base secha, guys. You put the mezuzah on derech bi ascha, the way you walk in. The chi akar inish kare, when a person picks up his leg. The Yamina Akabaresh. He picks up his right leg first. So you're always going to put the mezuzah on the right side. So that's Beisecha Bi Ascha. Right. Tanya Idach, Beis HaKnesses, Ubeis HaShutfin, Ubeis HaIsha, Mit Hamayim Bin Goyim. We had last week's parsha, right? There's Thomas the Goyim. Pshita, why not? Samad Tema Uva Ashaloi Habayis, and it'll come the one to him is the house. Loi v'loi la, to him and not her. V'loi lahem and not them. So I'd say it's only about an individual. You have shaykh by, in the goyim. Hashem came. The other case is not kamash malon. Fred gemara ve'ema hachanami. It's a good pshat. Loiv leilov leilehen. So makro, it says bebeis eretz achuzaschem. Achuzaschem means all of your achuzah, right? So that's the same question. Ela loy lamali. So then why you need the loy? If you tell me loy is laf davga, it's either law and lehen, right? So why do you? Because the achuzaschem is an override. So why do you say what loy? Mishem lamali, mishem yachid beisay loy, she'ena roitzel hashel kela, va'emer she'en loy. You know what loy teaches me? Very famous. You know who's going to get in the goyim in his house? Who makes his house his own. Hey, you have anything to borrow? No, don't have it. And can I borrow your lawnmower? You saw the guy using it? No, I don't have one. You saw the guy using it last week. Your snowblower? Can you snowblower? No, I don't have a snowblower. I saw you blowing it for the last 5 years. No, you don't have a snowblower. So guess what? That guy will get in the goyim, and guess what? The Kakanim are going to take all the kalim out of the house because they don't want the contract tumah, because in the basement nuga tameh. So Ashaloi, the guy who makes his house is Alice is mine. Alice is me. That's the guy who's going to get in the goyim in his house. Hakadosh Baruch Hu mefarsim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu mefarsim, then he makes all this kalim his kishem mafne es beisai, when he cleans out his house. Prat lemashal kel acherim. Prat a person what who will be marshal to acherim. Okay, I will stop over here. Same place. I don't know if lefty lift there. You have to speak to lefties if they lift their foot first.
Sure, thank you.